Hello, friends. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, and a very special welcome to our new author, Theresa Easbey. Hi, Theresa.
Hi, Miriam. Good to see you.
So nice to see you and so nice to celebrate you. It's your book launch day. Yes.
Yes, it is very exciting. I never thought I'd get here.
Oh, and here you are. Can you show everybody your book and share the title, please?
This is Tess Dreams of a Horse, a Big Dreams Tale.
I want to know so much. So,
Dream
first of all,
Big Tale.
Theresa,
I don't even know the subtitle of my book. A Dream Big Tale. Sorry, I got that backwards. A little
that's
dyslexic
okay.
there.
That is okay. That is okay. A beautiful, beautiful book. Theresa, what inspired you to write this book?
Well, there were actually a couple of things that inspired me to write the book. First of all, like a lot of your other students, I think I've wanted to write a book pretty much my whole life, right? Always wanted to be a writer. I didn't necessarily associate that with children's books right out of the gate,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
as time marched on, I did some writing in my professional life, manuals and policies and procedures. Those aren't fun things to write. They're, you know, they're not entertaining. So I wanted
Mhm.
to write something for entertainment and just memories of when my son was really little and I used to read to him every night. It occurred to me that the children's book venue is perfect for what I wanted to do, to have a great story and have illustrations that, tell more of the story, the behind the scenes. You tell the story with a few words and then you have the illustrations to help support it. So that was perfect. And then the other inspiration was just my experiences with horses and some of the things that happen with horses. Um, Anybody who has them knows they're really expensive, and some people find that expense a little hard to at
Mhm.
some points in time, and so horses end up in you know needing a different home. There are other horses that have behavioral issues, and unless they're with somebody who has a lot of expertise, they're difficult to deal with. And then you have geriatric horses like my horse, who has aged out of his work life, but they still need to do something, right? But not everybody wants a geriatric horse. So it's this idea of horses, you know, that don't fit that perfect mold, the perfect horse mold that we need to still take care of. So that was the other inspiration for the book.
Oh, so nice, so beautiful. So, could you share, Teresa, what is the book about and who would you say it's for?
Well, the book is about a little girl who is obsessed about having a horse of her own. So she has these daydreams about everything that she could do with a horse if she had one. And there some of them are a little far fetched, but she has these dreams of what she could do with a horse. She has this idealistic horse in her mind that she has kind of fashioned after her favorite toy horse. And so she's determined to do it. So she finds some really creative ways to earn money so she can buy a horse. And she goes to her mother once she's got some money. She goes to her mother and says, "I'm ready to buy a horse. Can we go to the horse place?" And the horse place is a horse rescue that they live near. And her mother takes her there. She says, "You don't really have enough money to buy a horse. She's got very little
That
money."
was cute. That was
Yeah,
cute.
yeah, but it doesn't hurt to go visit. And so they go to this horse rescue, and as she's walking through the barn, she's seeing this huge variety of horses. And interestingly, there's one that looks a lot like the horse that she has built up in her mind. It's black, it's big, it's beautiful, but she actually ends up focusing on a different horse that's like 180 degrees away from that.
Mhm.
And I'll leave it there. She finds this other horse that is completely different from what she's built up in her mind. But
Mm,
and it's okay. It turns out great. But
yes.
the intended audience is 5 to 8 year olds. Um, I think 5 to 8 year olds will get a lot of enjoyment out of this book. But I'd like to think that even adults would enjoy the book. When
Yes.
my son was little and I read to him, I liked his books as much as he did. I still have a couple of them on my bookshelf, a couple of my favorites. So I think it's okay. I think some adults will definitely enjoy it.
Well, I enjoyed it this morning when I read it. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. What is it that you hope that kids and parents will take away from the book?
Well, a couple of takeaways. And the first one is don't ever give up dreaming. We all have to dream or have goals. For adults, we like to call them goals, but really it's dreams.
Yes.
Um, that's kind of the stuff of life. If we didn't have something to work towards, what would our purpose be really? And nothing good ever happens unless you dream of it, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of the first takeaway. And kids, they kind of do that naturally. They haven't been told yet that they shouldn't be dreamers, right? But
Right.
hopefully there's some part of them that continues to dream their entire life, so they achieve great things. And then the other takeaway is that ability, age, color, none of these things um, have anything to do with the value of a living creature, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, everything has worth. Sometimes we have to look a little harder to find it, but everything has value and worth.
Hmm. That is so great. I love what you shared. And now that I read your story, I can see where that's weaved into the story. Of course, it's an entertaining story. It's so much fun, but I can see where all of these little messages are buried there, which is so special. And that's exactly what we want in children's picture books, right? That's what we're sharing. So, would you hold it one more time? I want to make sure to mention to all of our friends watching this book, Tess Dreams of a Horse, is available today on in Amazon. So go there, buy a copy, grab several copies of this book, and share it with the children in your life. Thank you. Thank you, Theresa. So let's talk a little bit about you becoming a children's book author. You shared that you've been writing um, non-entertainment books, and here you are now with a children's book. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you learned when writing this book?
Oh boy. Well, probably that this is so much more than you would ever think it is before you
Mhm.
get involved in it. Like before you ever write a children's book, you just think, oh, that's got to be pretty simple. It's 800 to 1100 words, and then you have the illustrator that helps you, get this story flowing. And it doesn't look like it's that hard to do. And well, there's a lot more to it than you would ever know. And I have to say that, going through your class, through your program, kind of kept that whole train going. I don't know that I could have done it without going through this course.
Mm.
Just because, your course is kind of perfect. You have all the meetings, you have all the material on your portal. You keep pushing people to, here's your goal for this month. Do this, do this, do this. Here's Miriam with the whip behind us. No, kidding.
Yes.
Um, no, but I think that that's the part of it is that it just is. It's a lot more than you think it is, and you just have to keep at it.
I love that. I mean, that's the reality of putting a children's book together. And of course, somebody could write something, put it up quickly, get an illustrator, and it's done. But it's not a quality book, right? So it's spending
Right.
that time. Um, and my first question I should have asked you, what was the biggest challenge when writing the book? So we know there's lessons and challenges. Anything that you want to share there?
Yeah. For me, there were like challenges along the way, and they changed as this went through its procession. But the first challenge was just getting that word count right. I mean, when I wrote the first draft of this story, it was probably twice the word, probably over twice the word count that you're supposed to have for this kind of picture book. And so, trying to figure out how to pare that down and still be able to tell the story was a challenge for me. But I got it pared down, and then because you have this great editor, she took it and she found some more concise ways to say certain things, and so she helped in that regard. I mean, she helped like with the whole story, of course, but she just did a marvelous job, and so we finally got that word count down. But the next kind of challenging thing was just because I have another job. I have a full-time job. And so there are points in time during this process that you're really busy, way busier than you ever expect to be. And trying to fit that in with the real job, or not, I shouldn't say real job, my full-time job. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that can be challenging sometimes. And then the final thing that I'm still struggling with is the whole social media marketing piece.
Hmm.
I'm older and I don't really like social media. I mean, younger people love it. I'm not a big fan, but so putting yourself out there on social media and, it's like, hey, look at me, look what I'm doing. It's just that's an odd concept for me. But I'm
Yes.
doing it and, I have my ambassadors and people that are going to help today on this launch. And so it's all
Hmm.
working
Yes, yes. And it's about embracing it, which I love that you're doing that. So you shared some challenges. Thank you for sharing that because it's real. That is what's happening. You shared the work that's involved. What would you say is the best part now of accomplishing this dream? You get to hold your book in your hands. What's the best part?
Well, the best part was getting the first book. So, and now seriously, the best part is probably just being able to say, I'm an author. I am an author
Mhm.
now. It's what I've wanted to do for a very long time. It's a long-term dream that has finally been achieved. And so that's kind of the best part. And then with that, I have gained a lot of confidence and I feel like I can go forward and do the rest of the series and I'm going to be fine. Now that I know how the process goes, I'm going to be
Yes.
fine. And so all of that, great,
Mhm.
great things.
Oh, I thank you for sharing that. I think sometimes we forget about that or we don't think about that, right? When we go for a dream, I'm going to call it a dream, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
When we go for it, of course, there's going to be those challenges and those lessons. And we forget that who we become in the process is also very important because I mean, I see the confidence in you. You're like, yeah, now I know what I'm doing. I'm going to put out the second book in the series and it's not going to be so hard.
Right.
So I'm sharing that because we have a lot of aspiring authors that watch our interviews. We forget about that. The confidence, who we become in the process is also very, very important. And it's
Yeah.
very rewarding. So, Teresa, what piece of advice do you have for an aspiring author who may be watching today?
Well, I would say that if the aspiring author is an aspiring children's book author, they should sign up with Miriam Laundry Publishing to go through this whole program because it'll help you get there. If you're already with Miriam Laundry Publishing, then I would say my advice is to just, don't get overwhelmed. If you look at the whole broad picture, it can be overwhelming. But you
Mhm.
guys have done this really marvelous job of cutting it up into very doable pieces. And so I would say just focus on the piece you're on and keep going. Just keep going. Kind of like Nemo, just keep swimming.
Right, right. And you'll get
So,
there. Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you, Teresa. Would
yep,
you hold the book one more time? So, of
you bet.
course, we want everyone to go to Amazon and grab a copy of Tess Dreams of a Horse. But besides Amazon, where else can our viewers find you?
Well, my website is www.teresaeasbeybooks.com. And then my Facebook page and my Instagram are both Theresa Easbey Books. So if you can just remember Theresa Easbey Books, you'll get there.
Perfect, perfect. And friends, aspiring authors who are watching, go follow Teresa. Go see her come out of her shell the more that she gets on social media. And really, that's what it is, right? It's sharing what we're doing, sharing the books that we have. And I understand it being uncomfortable at first because it was for me. But really, that's what it takes for us to share and to tell people about our books and to share it, to have children actually read our books and buy our books. And that's what we want as authors. We want to share that. So thank you for mentioning that also, Teresa. So before we go, is there anything else that you would like to share or anything that you wish I would have asked you?
Well, I do want to share I want to give a shout out to a couple of different people that really were an integral part of what I was doing here. And the first one is I want to acknowledge a longtime childhood friend of mine that we've known each other since I was 8 years old. So that's a long time. And we rode horses together when we were kids. She, pushed me to get into competitions, trail riding competitions, and that didn't end up being my thing. I like riding horses, but I like doing it just in a casual way. But she went on to become a really well-known reining trainer. So she trains reining horses, and she's been in competitions throughout the United States. She's been a judge for reining competitions in both the United States and Canada. and she trains horses to sell them to people who want to do this same thing. And so I just wanted to say thank you to my friend Renee Pipinich from Renee Pipinich Reining Horses. She teaches me something every single day about horses. So I love her. And then the other shout out is to Horse Haven, Montana. That is a rescue here in the Missoula, Montana area. And Janet Rose is the executive director of this organization, and she rehabilitates horses that have been rescued or relinquished, and she finds new owners for them when it's possible. But the other thing that she does that is really cool is she has a program out there for autistic children. And so if people want to check her out and donate to her organization, I would highly recommend that. And it would be awesome if you could. But again, that's Horse Haven, Montana is where you can find it online. And then the last shout out, of course, is to you, Miriam, and to your whole team. I seriously don't think I would have got here if it weren't for every single person on your team.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's our pleasure. I love what you're doing. I love the work that you do. I love that I know that you also support these organizations. So friends, go find them. And then, of course, today, go grab a copy of this wonderful book. Theresa, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for sharing everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day. Bye-bye.